All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Samuel Neal, President and founder of the Aviation Club of Jamaica. Would like to thank whomever is here with us today for joining in. We're joined by Mr. Curtis Marsh, former club member, also uh, Boeing aerospace engineer in the United States. So today we're going to be discussing, as is depicted in the picture, we're going to be discussing how to build a resume, a modern day resume, one that promotes your skills well. Um, and we're also going to be talking about how to apply for jobs and also how to network. So just to go over it, there are a few things that we're going to be discussing in today's meeting. One is to how to build a resume. The other is to how to search for and apply for jobs, as well as how to prepare for an interview as well, which is one thing I forgot to mention, but also how to network. And when we say network, we mean, how to get access to a network, how to even build a network, how to maintain the network. All right. And networking is a crucial skill to have um, in any career that you desire to pursue. It's very useful, and as the saying goes, is sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. And usually the who you know part comes from your network, who you have in your network that you can probably rely on, that is a little bit more resourceful than you are at the present time. So that's pretty much what we will be discussing today. Um, so Curtis Marsh is here, and we're going to be handing over to him shortly so that he can share with you his insight on the various topics to be discussed in 45 minutes, over the next 45 minutes. And the reason why we chose Mr. Marsh is because for those who know Curtis Marsh's story, he, after or close to finishing his time at the Florida Institute of Technology in Melbourne, Florida, he he has experience in terms of building his resume, and not just experience, but he also knows the importance of having a very unique resume that separates you apart from those who are competing for a particular position, maybe the same position that you're competing for. So with that said, he's going to give us the insight on what he did and how it benefited for him, as well as he's going to talk to us as well about networking. He's very versed in the networking field. Um, so he's going to be elaborating on that as well. So Curtis, are you here?
Yes, sir. I'm here. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, I can hear you. All right, great. So um, just made you the host, so you can go ahead. The floor is yours.
All right, perfect. So let me actually share my camera as well. Let me know if you can see me. Can you see me?
Yeah, man, see you.
All right, perfect, perfect. So as always, Sam, I want to just thank you for bringing me on today. It's always a pleasure coming and just paying it forward. So the Aviation Club of Jamaica, this club has done a lot for me to help me to be where I am today. Boring and everything else. So I'm really grateful to the club, to you, and also for the persons who are jumping on, taking the time to be plugged into the Aviation Club. Right, it's something that is instrumental in today's day and age of youth who really have a passion for aviation. Right, I think, to be honest, this is one of the foundational, a great foundation to have if you're really looking to go into aviation. All right, so Samuel, big ups to you. All right,
Gotcha.
so I'm gonna be. So I guess I'm seeing persons jumping on still. So I'll just look at the meeting room and add them in while I'm going. But so today we were talking about how to build your resume. Someone mentioned also networking and some other tips. What I mean. So I'm going to have an outline for the resume. For the rest of them, I just kind of go back and forth just from my experiences. But just to give you some backstory, like someone was saying, right? I've had experience with my resume. I've had it, reviewed countless times by my professors in college, persons at Boeing, even before I was even employed at Boeing, right? And that which goes into the networking portion, which is kind of unique, right? So, I've had experience with it, so I'm not going to come on here and tell you something that I've read on some news article or I found on Google. I'm going to tell you something I've done, and to be very, very, very transparent with that. All right. Now, I also mentioned that, I did something on my resume that kind of set me apart from other individuals who were applying for the same job I was applying for. All right. So I'm going to share that little nugget as well for you. Few persons who are on tonight, right? Consider yourself, like I think these are you being on right now, you're gonna learn something that most persons probably won't learn. All right. So kudos to you guys for being on. All right, let me accept this person jumping on. There we go. All right, so Sam, I'm gonna share my screen. So that it's gonna kick yours from sharing, all right? All right. So let me start with all right, so you should be able to see my screen, right? Just give me a thumbs up, Sam.
Yeah, man, good to go.
All right, good stuff. All right, so resume writing. Like you guys, so it's a small course. So actually want to be very intimate with the persons here, right? I want to so I'm seeing Ian Overcomer, McDonald, all right? I'm seeing also Shane Lynn Cook, and I see someone else who's not connected to the audio. I'm not sure if someone can. There we go. There it is. All right. So guys, if you want to unmute yourself, I'm not sure how Sam normally does it, or type in the chat box like where are you calling in from, where in Jamaica are you from, what high school do you go to? So I know, I can see the audience. Are you in high school? Are you in college? Talk to me. I think this person is unmuted, but he's not talking. So ZTE Blade, you're unmuted, but you're not talking, all right?
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, good afternoon. I'm from Mandeville, Manchester, and I've loved aviation ever since, I knew about it and and I started it at 16 years old, Jamaica Combined Cadet Force. That's where I really got my knowledge for everything. So yeah.
Okay, got it. So that's Shane. All right, thanks for sharing that, Shane. So you started at 16, JCCF pretty much. Funny, my wife, she did cadet. So I know she's well versed in all that. But how old are you right now? Are you in high school? Are you in college? If you want to type, you can as well, right? I think you're going in and out with the microphone. But if anybody else wants to share as well, I'll take one more and then I'll just jump into the resume building. Then Catherine and then Jose Marti. All right, got it. All right, and just type your name as well, so I know who I'm talking with. There we go. So we have no Medable Kenzie Samuel.
Apparently not. We're the only ones.
No problem. So David Burnett. All right, David, welcome to the meeting. Okay. All right, so let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. So I think Ian, I don't want you to feel left out. So if you want to talk, go for it.
All right, since I hear somebody from Jose Marti, then I need to say Jose Marti. But that is from the early days.
Right.
Jose Marti, then went to School of Art, and then went to Michael. I've always loved aviation. But every time I walk down to Timson Pen and I pass by, I look at the price, I have to just go away. But it's not until recently now that I say, after praying also that I realize that I need to do this. Since a father, I pray once and father just give me that direction. And so, you know, that father tell me directly, say, do this. Well, I can't make money be the excuse anymore. I just have to just go forward. So right now, I've done some growing school online and so on. I'm pushing forward.
Yeah, man, definitely.
I'm pushing forward.
Yeah, that's something that's key, right? You see, like a lot of times the reason why you need to do this, don't let it be the reason why you don't do it. Does that make sense? So if it's money, so you need to you want to become a pilot. I know your story, Ian. All right, I know funds. Trust me, we all know some funds is not easy going into that field, financially. But never let that be a deterrent into you actually pursuing it. All right. So I respect your dedication to getting things done. All right. So let's get into the resume building. All right. It's gonna be nothing too much in depth. Very conversational. If you guys want to unmute yourself and talk, look at discussion. All right. So pretty much on this here, I just had a basic breakdown, which you guys have seen online or anywhere else. All right. So basic information like education, technical skills, honors, co-curricular activities, and I put bonus content because that's pretty much something that I did on my resume that most persons I think didn't have. Okay. Now I'm going to get off of this and I made like a quick, how do I say, outline. All right, let me share this screen instead. All right, so you guys are seeing my like a Word document, Samuel?
No, there's some weird thing happening. You probably have to try again. I'm not sure what's happening.
All right, 1 second. Stop sharing then share again. Okay. So now you're seeing it, right?
Yeah.
There you go. All right, perfect. So pretty much here's a basic outline. I can send it to Samuel and send it to you guys. All right. So pretty much this is how my resume looks like from the skeleton phase. All right. So of course, your name, you want to put your information, address, phone number, where they can contact you. All right. You make sure to have that. I wouldn't recommend having like a Yahoo, Hotmail email address. Like Gmail is the perfect one. It looks more professional. Nothing too crazy, like within like 1, 2, 3s or something like that. Like a first name, last name, at gmail.com. Something that's very simple for the person to say, okay, this is a kind of a professional email. All right. Now you want to move straight into your education. All right. So whatever it is, I'm going to show you my resume that I used to get into Boeing after this, but I'll give you this breakdown first. You put your education, which is in the university, or if it's high school or college, you can put that there. All right. Your location, and of course, what you're studying and your GPA that you currently have. Okay. Now, when it comes on to technical skills, this is really, really important. You want to include any relevant skills to the job that you're applying for. So if you're applying for something that, uses Microsoft Word, uses a certain flight simulator experience, right? You're going to put that on it, right? But don't just put everything that you know technically, because that's just kind of padding your resume. And they will know when you're just trying to pad your resume, all right? You want to keep it relevant to whatever you're applying for. And something that's really key is do not state your level of proficiency. Saying, okay, I'm proficient in Microsoft Office, proficient in this. Sometimes the employers see that as tooting your own horn. You know what I mean? They want to see humility. They want to see that, okay, they will see your proficiency in what you are putting in your experience. Does that make sense? So they will see that. So you don't need to highlight that at all. So just state them, just list them out, and then you're going to move on to the next section. Your resume, all right? So typically when you have a job that you're applying for, right, you're going to have the job description that's there. Now, a few things you want to keep in mind, right? Let's say you have a company, if you're going to talk about you used to work at company one, right? You put your position that you had, you get most recent positions. You always want to go from the recent to less recent, top down. You're going to include at least 3 main points on what you have done. At least 3 main points. And this was a breakdown my professor gave me in college. He said that you want to state what the problem was, how did you approach a problem, and what was the result. Now that this may be only applicable to like something like a project or engineering, something like stuff that you did. But even if it's not that, let's say you're working at a call center, right? Then you say, okay, the problem is, or the case is you're addressing concerns from your customers, right? How did you do it, right? You applied yourself in X manner, right? You communicated well with clients, answered their questions, right? And the result was you had X amount of sales increase in your company over 3 months, right? So that's kind of the breakdown. What was the initial problem you're trying to solve? Or what's your job? How did you do your job? And what was the result of you doing your job? All right. If that's making sense, I like interactions. Or someone is in the waiting room. All right, let's go. Admit that person. All right, perfect. All right. All right, Sam, I think what I'll do, since I'm actually, I'm already sharing my screen, you can probably take back host if you want to, and then admit persons.
All right, no problem.
Yeah, man. So for the persons who were on and while I was going through that, does that make sense so far? Just type like a 1 in the chat box if that makes sense to you. Yeah, thumbs up. All right, good. I'm seeing some thumbs up. Seeing, perfect. All right, there we go. All right, so let's continue. Now, when it comes on to, here are some more key points, right? You want to include keywords from the job description. So if let's say you want to apply for you're trying to get some job at an airline, right? And they want X amount of flight hours on a specific aircraft simulator. Then you have it. You want to mention that specific aircraft flight simulator in your experience. So whatever keywords that they have inside the job description, you want to put those keywords inside of your resume. All right. If let's say something, for example, with Boeing, right? They're like, all right, proficient in computer aided design, right? Or software engineering or programming. I want to make sure I put programming, computer aided design somewhere in my resume. And that's really, really important for when you are applying online and your resume goes into like an automated system. Because what a system does, it tries to find those keywords from the description inside of the person's resumes. And if you don't have those keywords, you automatically get bumped out. Someone physical won't even see your resume. All right, so that's how you get your resume to the front of the line. All right, so you want to make sure you have those keywords that are from the job description. Now, you want to start each sentence with an action word. So don't say, okay, I was the chief manager at XYZ company. No, you want to say performed X task, performed computer aided design for company XYZ, right? Designed aircraft part using this, right? Managed 20 employees at XYZ company. Those action words, that's always start each point just like that, all right? And also, you want to highlight yourself as a team player, all right? So you want to mention that, put something where you work as a team. Trust me, that's big. I can tell you a story on that. Like literally when I was in my interview phase at when I was applying for Boeing, right? And persons were there had probably higher GPA than I had, right? Master's degrees, PhDs, all different degrees, like a thermometer, right? But a lot of persons were saying, I did this, I did this. I was the chief, I was the president of this organization, I was doing this. But not many persons were saying, okay, I worked with my team and we were able to accomplish this task together, right? We influenced this. They want to hear we more than I, all right? That shows that because your qualification, to be honest, there are thousands of persons that have your qualifications. So what separates you from the other person? Being able to work in as a team member, being a team player. All right, that's the key thing that you want to have. Okay, so highlight those things on your resume. Now, as best as possible, you want to reference your technical skills that you had mentioned in that previous section. So if you mention that you're proficient or you use Microsoft Word in your technical skills, you want to say, okay, how would I put this? All right, let's say you documented your results using Microsoft Word. All right, so let's say it again. If you said Microsoft Word up top, you want to make sure you mention Microsoft Word again in your experience by saying, hey, documenting my results using Microsoft Word. Because sometimes people just put like so many different skills that, and you don't even know what they did with that skill, right? Or that's how you show your proficiency in whatever skill that you put up top, all right? So let me just ask again, if you guys learned something a while ago that makes sense, drop a 3 in the chat box. And hopefully you're taking notes. All right, so I saw. So Shane is learning. I like it. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so I put company 2 same as above. So pretty much whatever companies that you're part of a work experience, right? The same rubric applies. All right, so you want to fill this experience section with all of those experiences that you had. Now you can do the same thing. Let's say you went to college. I'm not sure, depending on where you are in life. If you went to college already, you can also use your college projects or courses, if applicable, as experiences as well. All right. So I when I was applying for Boeing, I did put some projects that I worked on as well in there, and you want to put that in here. So the same rubric applies as well. You want to list main points, include keywords, right? Start each sentence with an action word, highlight yourself as a team player, and put any technical skill that you mentioned above in this section as well. All right. Now, the rest is very, very self-explanatory. All right, so honors and co-curricular activities, just list them out. All right, just list them out. Nothing too crazy, simple stuff. All right. I personally did not have any references on my resume. I don't think I'm not sure if that's something that people still are asking for in this day and age. I don't think so. I'm not sure. That's from my experience. All right. I think typically when you're applying online, most of the times they have a separate section for references, but it's not necessarily on your resume per se. So I would put it on there. If they want reference, they can ask you, hey, we need 2 references. They can provide references. All right. But this is just how I did my resume. Now the bonus content is this thing right here. All right. So include any relevant images of the work that you have done. All right. And ensure to reference those images in the document as well. Now this was real. I think this is what gave me the edge in the interview process. I'm not even gonna lie to you. All right. I know I told Sam the story so many times, how I got hired, right? I was there in the line waiting for hours, probably 2 to 4 hours, just waiting, decided not to apply to any other company. And when I finally got to the front of the line, I spoke to somebody. They literally just went to my resume. They saw one word. There was a word that was in the job description that I put on my resume, and that was what sparked the interest of the person. He was like, all right, tell me about this. I started speaking, and then when they flipped over, they saw images of some of the projects I worked on, right, in that field, which was pretty much structural engineering, structural analysis, right? And he was like, all right, this is different. Come tomorrow for an interview. Went to interview, did all that good stuff, and next day I was hired. God is good for that. So that's really the rubric for my resume that I had, and this was given to me what helped me with this. It was my professor in college. Someone from Boeing also helped me with this as well. When I went to the first convention the year before I got hired, and Boeing pretty much turned me down. I've been applying for like a while, you know what I mean? Someone put me aside and said, hey, let me see your resume, and they just kept helping me to fine tune it, and then eventually that happened. Now, what I'll do, I get off of the rubric and kind of show you my resume that I use to apply to Boeing. If you guys want to see that, drop 4 in the chat box. I'm just putting numbers there. I like interaction. Drop some 4s in the chat box. Let's go. Shane is excited. All right. So let me stop sharing this screen and go to the other one. All right, Sam, make me host again if you could. So I can share my screen. Thank you. Okay. Actually, let me do this. All right, good. So you should see my resume right now, right? So let me zoom in. So it's been updated since then. All right. So, but this is the one I had at the time. Okay. So as you can see, let me put this over here. All right. So education, I put FIT. All right. Shout out to FIT, Stacey Rita. All right. What I'm studying, I put the date, of course, of graduation there. I put my skills. So put pretty much all of the softwares that I used in college, right? But they were all applicable to what I was applying for. Okay. So don't worry about it. You probably don't know some of these stuff, but just put them there. That's how you would list them out. All right. Now, actually, no, I think this one was updated because I started working at Boeing. So this was a even more recent resume. Anyways. But yeah, you see, put Boeing company, my experience, my title, perform stress analysis on aircraft components to ensure flight worthiness. All right, I probably should put a few more points on that one, but so this one is a more current resume, guys. All right. Now, you can see I put a lot of experience from FIT. All right, so my senior design project that I worked on, pretty much we designed a Formula One car, and I was responsible for designing the body of the car. And we did with carbon fiber layup, all that good stuff, that was fun. All right. So you can see the action words. If you realize action words every single time: performed, right? Determined, designed, built, liaison. Well, supposed to put liaison right there, right? So perform stress analysis on the chassis in SolidWorks. So you realize that SolidWorks was a program that I used, and it's also in my technical skills. So that makes sense. So now they know I actually use SolidWorks, and I don't just know, like, I don't know. I'm not lying about my proficiency in it. All right. So I told him what I determined. Told him I build parts in machine shop, and the machine shop is also in my technical skills. All right. What else? Let me see. Yep. And also, so if you realize, so all of this up here was pretty much talking about what I did. So, but I said liaison with Road Area, which was a company that built our parts. So I liaison with them. So that shows that I'm able to work with other persons, right? It's not just me. I'm a team player. I'm a people person as well. So you want to show that, all right? No, same thing here for my aerospace structural design lab. I just put some labs that I did, and they're not really important right now. I don't go into all the details. Computer aided design. I drew free body diagrams, applied, reported. Right. So pretty much this was a problem, right? To identify a solution, right? I applied my analysis, and then my results, I reported my results. So remember I was saying that the 3 steps: what was the problem? What did you do? And also, what was the result of it? All right, so this is a very technical resume. So it depends on what you're applying for. All right, so don't get hung up on the details here, but just that same framework. All right. One of the things I did also, I had a link to a portfolio that I created online that showed them some images of my work as well. So you can do that also. But if it's a physical resume they're giving to somebody else, then they may not be able to see that. You know what I mean?
Curtis, I think somebody trying to get into the meeting.
All right.
You can just let them in, please.
Gotcha. Just did. So there we go. All right. So I'll keep that open up here that way. If I see somebody else, I'll just let them in. All right. Good stuff. All right. So I think that was, I'm not sure who joined, but you missed a couple stuff. However, so your honors and your co-curricular activities, very, very straightforward, right? Just put them in. All right. So I had a few things that I put in there. So this is where this is a game changer here. All right. So let me kind of scroll up before I even show you the images. So you see where I had formula car, right? And I said, see figure 1 overleaf, right? So that's, I'm telling, okay, this is the formula project that I worked on. In the next page, you're gonna see how it looks. Pretty much, I see the analysis, the analysis that I did. So comes all the way down here. Figure 1 is showing the analysis that we did on the car, the chassis of the car. All right. So they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Oh, that's nice. All right, now you have talking points. Now they visually can see how it looks. All right, let's go to figure 2. What was figure 2? So figure 2 was an aerospace structure design lab that I did. All right, so pretty much this was the test. We were testing a honeycomb structure, and then we showed the results of the loading of that structure. All right, the load versus the displacement and the maximum load that was given. All right. So pretty much if you're in an interview process, you can ask your questions by looking at the images, and you can answer the questions, and you look more, you know, like you know what you're talking about. All right. And then the last one that I meant put on there was the computer aided engineering, right? Which was pretty much 3D modeling. All right. So this was it. So I just put that on there as well. All right. So this was really what gave me the edge when I was applying for Boeing. All right. On top of, you know, how I conducted myself during the interview process, because you can have a perfect resume, but if you're in an interview, you're stuck, and you can't show that you are, you know, able to work with other persons, and your resume your character doesn't reflect your resume, then you won't get it. All right. But that's a different story. That's resumes. That's interview skills. Okay. But that's pretty much everything. All right. Not rocket science. Very, very straightforward. Let me know if you guys learned something new, at least, about writing a resume. Drop us 7 in the chat box. All right. So what I want to do now, you're welcome. You're welcome. So if you guys have any questions about the resume portion, I'm open to some questions right now. All right. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask.
One question here.
Yes, sir.
Education up the top, but I noticed you just put 1 or the most recent.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so pretty much, like, why did I put only one thing here and not, like, you know, medical as well and all that stuff?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, yeah. So, all right. So it depends on where you are and what you're applying for, right? It's not much value added if you have all of your education on there if it's not relevant to what you're applying for. You know what I mean? So if you're applying for me personally, I was applying to Boeing, right? But they don't care about my high school education, to be honest. They don't care about that. They just want to know if you went to college and what college you went to, what was your GPA. So it depends on what you're applying for. For sure. I would recommend putting all the education on there. Put the most recent, two at most, if they're applicable.
Yeah, yeah. I agree because I mean, putting Meadowbrook up there, putting a high school up there has nothing to do with, you know, as Curtis said, we are applying to. And then Florida Tech having a university degree supersedes a high school education. You know, it's the highest form of education that he could have possibly achieved, at least right now. So if Boeing was to look at the resume, I'm sure they're going to go past the Meadowbrook if Meadowbrook was on there. And if you needed to, if you look at this resume, there's a lot of information here, right? And having Meadowbrook or having excess information will not allow you to have the information that's necessary that the employers are looking for. So you have to learn how to maximize the space as well. Because I can tell you this, as much as Curtis has a very detailed resume, a lot of them are not going to look through the entire thing. They're going to be looking for key things, right? Education, technical skills. They maybe even look at one of the projects or, you know, some sort of work experience. Actually look at the pictures, seeing that there's a wait, this person included pictures. I'm curious to see what these pictures are. And actually go down into the document to find out and say, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then probably show their colleague and say, hey, ever see one of these resumes before? Type of thing. I was like, this guy did this at Florida Tech, and oh, this is what they're going on with Florida Tech now. And okay, I'm curious. Let's look at this guy. You know, check this guy out. Pass on the resume to the person who is conducting the next phase of the interview, and say, hey, check this guy out. This seems interesting. You know, ask these questions in interview about a particular project and stuff. You know, even they themselves might want to know more. So, just to directly answer your question, you want to have your most recent educational achievement down, and also you want to maximize the space. So for me as a pilot, let's say I am applying to Caribbean Airlines. Key things that I would include under education is if I have a university degree, the degree that I got, where I got it, when I achieved it, as well as my pilot credentials. Everything else takes the backboard, right? They want to know which airplane I flew, well, which school I learned to fly at, what I got there at the school and when, which airplanes I've flown after that, you know, after school, what was my first job like, and then pretty much everything else after that, right? They want to know, because for pilots, our resumes are a little bit more detailed. The type of plane, how many hours flown on the airplane, how many hours flown at night, how many hours flown under instrument conditions, you know, these detailed things, but that's for pilots. As an engineer, Curtis put that he studied as an engineer, and then he got these technical skills that is useful as an engineer, whether it is using I think it was a figure, the second figure, actually in the workshop, whether it is technical skills that he acquired in the workshop, or if it is you know, skills in terms of using software skills, you know, being able to utilize these different things. So everything that is in his resume now is suited for what they're looking for at Boeing, right? At a place like Boeing. And I'm almost sure, 100% sure, that there are other things that could have been included in the resume but was not included. Why? Because that's not what Boeing is looking for. Remember too that you're trying to market yourself, right? Market your skill set and say, hey, Boeing, whatever I have is useful to you. You understand? So you just have to, it's almost like a sweet talking a girl. You're going to send a text, you're going to want to say the right things and put the right things in the text, right? Curtis is a married man as well, so we can even have a club meeting about that. If that was the case. But it's just really putting everything that they want to see, and that the skills that you have that is an asset to them. That's what you want to put on paper. And as we can see here, what gave him the edge is that I have never really seen this type of thing before. I've heard about it, but this is my first time actually seeing it on the document to say, oh, this is what he did, right? But this is very good. And this is for persons who are like him, who are engineers and actually have projects that they actually work on. Of course, as a pilot, I'm not going to put the plane that I fly on the resume, because why? It's not applicable. But these are the type of things that makes you more marketable or gives you a little edge over the next person, right? For me, when I updated my resume to have a picture of myself included, so where Curtis would have his name up by the top with his contact information, I included a picture of myself, a professional picture at that, not a Facebook or Instagram picture, a professional picture in a suit, with tie and everything, with a nice smile, and say, hey, this is me. So the person already sees who I am and sees my background on paper. But you know, these are just little things that you'd have to do to give yourself an edge. It's a very competitive world out there. So you have to be creative as well as professional. You don't want to be too creative that it overwhelms the resume. Because the purpose of the resume is to pretty much introduce yourself, your professional background to your prospective employer, right?
Right.
But
Let me
yeah,
just add something to that too, Sam, if I could. So like here, being creative, that's definitely key. Because even if you look at my resume right now, I think what happened was I had a general resume that I walked into Boeing with, walked into the initial application stage with. But you see, once they saw my resume and they saw this is an older resume, but once they saw something about structure analysis on it, right, and they said come tomorrow for the interview, I went home that night. It was probably like 10 p.m. or whatever after the convention. My interview was probably like, I think it was in the early morning, 6 a.m. I redid my entire resume, and everything on my resume has had to do with structural analysis. Everything. I took out anything that was not structural analysis and put everything that was to make it more applicable. So when I walked in the interview, I was like, hey, all right. I know you guys had a resume from yesterday. Here's my most up-to-date resume. I made some adjustments to it. Right? That's when I walked in. That's the first thing I did. When you go into an interview, like you're interviewing them. That's how you're gonna approach it. That's a different thing. And I know generally you want to keep it on one page. Generally, I try to do that. Right? You can see there's some overlaps, but normally I would just make this text smaller. Like my borders, like these are not the regular borders. If you can really tell, right? It's not 1 inch. I extended these borders to have things fit in there much better. All right. So yeah, do small things like that to make you stand out and fit as much information as possible, but not to overwhelm, like someone said, because they take 3 seconds, to be honest, about 3 to 5 seconds to decide whether or not they want to look at the rest of your resume. So once they say, okay, if you come on here, you see education, FIT, Meadowbrook, Solarfield High School, that basic school.
yeah, it becomes overwhelming at that point. It's like, you know what, this person, yeah,
But
yeah,
they come on, let's say education, technical skills. All right, cool. Then now let's go forward.
yeah. And the higher you go, is the more you're gonna adjust the resume. So, so you know, so for instance, Curtis is now going to work for Airbus, for argument's sake, right? For experience, I'm imagining that, correct me if I'm wrong, Curtis, but you would take out, oh no, this is the Boeing company where you are now, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, if there was, let's say you did an internship before you actually went to Boeing,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had the internship, and then you had the Boeing company that you officially worked, because you were offered a permanent position there, right? If you were now going to work for Airbus, you would have removed the internship, and then just leave that you had a permanent position at Boeing. Am I correct?
Yes, it depends, because yeah, probably. So it depends on how long I've been working at Boeing. So I'm working for almost 4 years now. So I'll put Boeing, of course, and put as much detail about Boeing as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. And then if applicable, yeah, I'll probably leave on the internship if I need to. But of course, FIT stuff wouldn't even be on there, to be honest.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be on there. Yeah. So the higher you go, yeah,
The more you adjust.
the more you adjust it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
hopefully he and they got some answers from that.
So I think David was asking, how early can one send in a resume for a job application?
As early as possible, and as you see, put it in. as you see, put it in. No hidden smokes there. But
Yeah.
don't just rush to put it in. You want to make sure that you take the time to get it reviewed by, stuff like this that we're doing right now to make sure it's a good resume. All right. So don't
Yeah.
just fat
And
finger. Put
I
it in.
know some persons who are watching are young, and they're still in high school, maybe applying for summer jobs, and I'm not sure if universities these days ask for a copy of a resume. It's more like a written essay, no, not necessarily resumes. But in the event that you are within that age category, that you're still in high school and looking to maybe get a summer job here or there, but you still have to send in a resume. It's not, of course, going to be as complex or as detailed as this, and but there still needs to be a certain level of information on it. Your basic name, home address, phone number, email address, and as Curtis said, the best thing to use in this day and age is a Gmail email, right? Education, whichever high school you're in, as well as the dates. So the start date and your pending finish date. All right. Of course, a lot of common resumes have the list of subjects that are being pursued. Fine. For your age group and where you are in life, fine. You can list the different subjects that you are pursuing, but ensure to include that they're pending, meaning you haven't sat the CXC or CAPE exams yet, but they're pending. They're pending results in June or August or whenever it is that the results are coming out. Technical skills at that age, again, you will not have many, but just the same, you will have a few, because if you, from I think grade 7 to 9, you'd have at least had some education on how to use Microsoft Word from an information technology class. You learn to do various things, and you may have various skills as well that you have developed on your own or developed elsewhere. Experience, you may not have any at that phase. You may not have worked the year before or the year before that. You might not have, this may be your first summer job, so of course you wouldn't have any experience. Scroll down for me, Curtis, to see, gonna see what's next. Honors, you wouldn't have any of those just yet. So of course, this is not applicable to you. You will take that out. And if it's a summer job thing, I am 100% sure that whomever is looking at it will not be expecting much, right? But still, as best as you can, you need to fill in the blank spaces. Co-curricular,
My first
yeah.
resume to a summer job, probably like, I don't know, half a page if so much.
Yeah, if so much,
Don't worry
right?
about it.
Right, because you're still building at that point, right?
Right.
But some of the key things that they do look for is like co-curricular activities. Like, are you a part of a club? Do you do sports? Are you a part of a church group? Do you have any hobbies outside of just school? What do you like to do? So, with that said, join a club. I mean, it doesn't have to just be the aviation club. If you like sports as well, do sports. If you like music, do music as well, and list these things to go with it. And I mean, that's pretty much it. As a high school student, that's pretty much it. But then for those who are beyond the high school, for those who are adults, university students, then of course you would have a little bit more to offer to your resume, and this template or this example should be very useful to you. As we said earlier, I mean, this is a resume for an engineer, and we know an engineer is no joke, right? It's a very detailed resume, a lot of information that is there. But whatever job that you are applying for, the key thing to remember is to ensure that information that is on it is applicable to the job that you're going to be applying for. And it makes you more marketable. It shows that, I am an asset to the company based on my skill sets. All right. So that's pretty much what I have to offer. Anything more from you, Curtis?
No, that's pretty much it. On resume building, resume writing. So I could probably go into a little bit about networking a bit, before we have and probably have a little discussion real quick about that. So as it relates to networking, so that's key. That's key. There's a few points. I'm just gonna talk just from the dome. It comes with you being intentional about it. When you're in networking, you have to be intentional. So if there's an event going on, I remember when, somewhere in high school is right, when the person used to fly in to do those seminars and stuff, we made sure that we were at those seminars.
Yeah.
So the first step is being present. Find out where events are going on, and then make an effort to be there.
Yeah.
Right? That's number one, showing up. Number two is when you show up, dress the way you want to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, always dress. Doesn't mean you have to like go out to your way to get stuff. No, just put yourself together well, right, presentable, and go there. Right? That's number two. Number three is most people like to sit at the back of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Do not be that person.
Yeah.
Sit at the front of the room.
Be seen.
Be seen all the time. Right? Be early and go sit at the front of the room. Even if you think you're a shy person, you're not a shy person.
Yeah.
Take that mentality away from you. All right? Sit at the front of the room, and while the person is talking, have a pen and a paper out. Whenever, this is a general rule, wherever you go, have something to take notes.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. All right? And while the person is talking there, you're taking notes. And the reason why you're taking notes as well is because you want to make sure that you are one of the only persons who have a question to ask that person.
Yeah.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
So when they say any questions, hand go up. All right. You may feel a bit uncomfortable. You're like, I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter. It could be a silly question. Ask it just the same, because you want to be seen by the person, so that they can say, oh, this person is serious. They want to build some kind of a connection.
Yeah.
All right. And be that person to ask a question. And then after an event, for example, you want to go up to that person as much as possible to just introduce yourself. Hey, my name is Curtis Marsh. Shake their hand. How about when it comes to like nonverbal things, with networking, right? All right. When it comes to nonverbal things, handshake is really key. Firm handshakes, right, and eye contact. Firm handshakes and eye contact. Introduce yourself, and then just when you talk with somebody else who has more experience than you in whatever field that you're trying to get into, just go there to listen. Don't go there just talking about you. So hey, my name is Curtis Marsh, and I love the presentation. One thing that you said that stood out to me was this. Can you just share some more insight on that? That's it. It's not about you, it's about the other person. And when you make it about the other person, then you will learn, and the other person will realize that, okay, you're somebody you're a giver, not a taker. All right, those are some points that some things that we do that I've employed in college, that we do that in our business right now. It's just about being intentional, to be honest. Just put yourself in a situation and then applying yourself when you're in the situation, by how you dress, how you speak, not being fake, but just put yourself together, and being someone who's asking questions, and be intentional about meeting new people all the time, because you will never know who is that person who's gonna say, you know what, I know somebody.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened with me when I went to the first convention to work for Boeing. I spoke to this guy. He was a recruiter. I got turned down, but I went to him and I introduced myself. I was like, just I found some common ground with him, that he was talking, and he said something that I listened to, and I was like, okay, that's interesting, and I just politely give an input, and then we started talking, and he was like, what happened? I was like, I got turned down. He was like, show me a resume. He was like, all right, cool. Next time, do this, do this, do this, do this. To this day, I have his number. It's just the same. And when I got hired, I texted him. I was like, hey, yo, Willie, I got hired.
Yeah.
And he was so happy.
Yeah.
So you never know. You never know. So those are some small points. Sam, I know you have your own experience as well.
Well, yeah, definitely. So thank you for your input, Curtis. But some of the things that I want to touch on is that for me, networking is something that I had to learn, and it is something that required me to get out of a certain shell. Everybody has different personalities, and because of that personality, It would either help to propel you forward into a network, or it can hinder you from getting access to a network. For me, what I learned is that, I had to go out there. I had to speak. I had to ask questions. I had to, just put myself out there among the professionals. And if if I didn't have anything to say or add or take away, I was just there. I was listening, listening and learning, so that whatever I heard or observed from this conversation or another network doing their thing, I could use that and to apply it to when I get the next opportunity, to be among another group of people, or a network in this example. Um, my own recent experience has to do with the Instagram Live feature that the club does most Sundays, right? A lot of these people that have been interviewed, I know nothing about, but I just spoke to a pilot, called another pilot, who called another pilot, and the phone calls just kept being made. And I've never had a Sunday where I don't have an aviation professional to speak to persons on the live just because of one phone call, right? And that is how my network expanded. So now my network that had this one pilot in the Middle East now connected to several others, and then those several others connected to another several others. So the numbers grew from 1 to 10 in the space of a couple of weeks or more, right? But back to what I was saying, I know a lot of persons have a personality where they're shy to see a pilot and just go over there and ask some questions, or if you don't want to be a pilot, just another professional that you admire, you want to be in their position, but you're just so shy, and you're still in your shell, and you don't know what to say, you don't know what to do, but you wish you were having a conversation. The best advice I can give you is just do it. As Nike would say, just do it. You know, hey, I'd like to be a pilot one day. Which company do you work for? What type of airplanes do you fly? Where do you fly to? When was your last flight? And then these are just questions I'm thinking of the top of my head right now. And easier said than done. But if being a part of a network or starting a network is something that's very important to you, as we're explaining it should be to you, then you probably have to do your homework, find out how to network, do some more research online, because it's a very, very important and crucial asset to have in your development, professional and personal development, right? It really is, trust me. I have seen benefit from it, still benefiting from it. Courtesies, other people that we know, it's the same thing. So, I mean, really and truly, it's not difficult, but it can be difficult for persons who have the type of personality that makes them shy or a little bit more reserved. But you have to put yourself out there, and that's one of the ways that you're going to learn to you put yourself among the professionals that are in the positions that you one day would like to be in, right? They have a wealth of knowledge for you to get, and you want to be around them, you want to talk to them, you want to get the information that they have, but you can't do that without networking.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Can I add something to that as well, Sam?
Yeah, man.
So, like I said, so it's because I was that person. I'm going to be very honest. Even though we did those stuff in high school, I was very reserved, as they would say, introverted. All right. But my situation made me put that behind me, like saying, no, I can't be reserved and it's not serving me.
Yeah.
Right. And when it comes on to personality, I don't want to go too much into like psychology and mentality and all that stuff, but just understand that this, right? Who you are, you define who you are by what you say and what you believe, and you can change that anytime. All right. And nothing grows in its comfort zone. So if you want to grow, you have to become uncomfortable. If you feel comfortable, you're not growing.
Yes, absolutely.
And it could be anywhere in life. Even if you're a multi-millionaire, if you get comfortable, you're not growing.
Yeah.
All right. So understand that thing. So just start becoming uncomfortable to be successful. Secondly, I can recommend a book or an audio that you can find and listen to that will help you to, understand how to network better. And it's called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. All right, you can buy the book, or you can, I think the audio maybe it must be probably on YouTube if you want to, if you're an audio listener.
What's his name? Ben what?
I think Dale Carnegie.
Dale Carnegie.
Yeah.
I just put it in the chat, but confirm if that's his name.
Yeah, I think the Carnegie is Carnagie.
Or GIE.
Yeah. I was Andrew Carnegie, one of them. You'll see it.
Yeah, Google search and find.
Yeah, so that's you can listen to that audio if the audio is there, but if you buy the book, definitely it's an amazing book. Trust me, amazing book. We use it in our business, but it's something that you can use for life. Give you those skill sets to network with people and to understand, psychology of how to get into the right circle.
Yes.
Right, which is key.
Yeah. All right. Anybody has any questions so far before we move on? There's not a whole lot to really discuss about networking. It's just something you have to do and learn from your mistakes. Learn from other people how to network. Learn from the situation that you put yourself in. As Curtis said, it's going to be uncomfortable, right? I was uncomfortable when I asked a few captains, like tomorrow we'll be interviewing an A380 captain. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Asking an A380 captain, big pilots, the creme de la creme in the industry, at the peak of his professional career, but still asking him to spend an hour with me on a Sunday when he should have been, with his family or out working or whatever. But I put myself in a comfortable position, explain my goal, and he was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So that was a success of me putting myself out there into the network and getting back a positive result, which of course won't be the case all the while, but in this instance I got a positive result. So if anybody had any questions about networking, we can give a few minutes to that. I think Ian, is that the video, the audio for the book? Hopefully it is.
It's over 7 hours, almost 8 hours.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it. What did you say?
Almost 8 hours.
Still not hearing you.
Almost 8 hours, so it's a long video.
Oh, 8 hours. But it is the one by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends.
Wow.
Ah, perfect. Let me just copy that link.
And while I'm here, yes, that from high school, college, and all of that, we have been doing a resume, and I tell you, this is the best resume I've ever seen. Okay.
Yeah.
And one of the shortest, because as I noticed, it just written like one page. But basically those action words and those things, I've never seen one. It's almost like you cannot be qualified for a job and just get that interview this interview. That is how powerful I'm seeing this.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, that's humbling. That's humbling, Ian.
Yeah. So maybe if somebody saw this resume, all you need is just a phone call to ask 3 questions, and if the 3 questions are if the answers to the 3 questions are what they think it is, then the job is his, right?
Exactly.
It's not, that's humbling. It's a mentality shift. The thing is, because normally when persons are writing a resume, they're thinking about themselves. Okay, I need to talk about me a lot. No, what do they want, and give them what they want. That's it.
Yeah.
As long as you're being truthful, that you're fine.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the word truthful, because there is one of my favorite quotes from a book that I was reading. I don't even remember the name of the book, but the quote that I just found back that I stored, it says, if you're gifted at something but not qualified, then you'll eventually be exposed. But if you're qualified but not gifted, you'll be respected but not effective. So you need both. So you may be gifted at something, like I may be gifted at speaking to you now the way I am, or coordinating these events with the club as we have been doing. But then And of course, I am a pilot, yes, and I want to advance to the highest level possible. But then if I really can't fly the plane, then, you know, I'm gifted at being with you now in this type of context, but I'm not qualified, you know. So eventually I'll be exposed, or, you know, some cannot fly a plane after all, but, you know, is just an enthusiast like everybody else, right? So you have to have both, really. So you want to ensure that you're, well, I guess it opens up the platform for me now to say that be as qualified as you can be, right? So that you have the actual content needed to put on your resume, right? Go to the training courses, read the books, apply for the jobs, take the chances that you need to take. For those of you who are young, capitalize on your opportunity to be in school. If you're in high school, think of the next steps after high school, make preparations for after high school, kind of develop a sense of direction in where you want to go in. You know, and maximize the opportunity, you know, gain as much knowledge as you can formally, and so that you can have it on your resume. And when you do have your resume, you know, ensure it is within this a similar format where your prospective employer sees you more as an asset than just a regular person looking for a regular job. You know, so you want to set yourself above the competition. And even if you're, so let's say all 10 of us here are applying for the same job, but you want to know that whomever has a similar concept that what we're showing you guys today, that you're above, you're with those at the top being considered, right? So that's pretty much it. In terms of now applying for jobs, right? In Jamaica, of course, let's talk about Jamaica, seeing that we're here. In Jamaica, there are not many jobs out there right now, especially in the aviation field. But for the jobs that are there, they're specialized jobs, right? Just like a pilot, you have to have a pilot's license. Just as if you're working at the airport, you have to have a specific background or training to be able to work at the airport and do certain things. All right. So in order to look for the jobs, you have to go online, research which companies are at the airport, go online, get some information about the companies. And in this modern day and age, there's a section called careers or job opportunities on the websites that give information to say, okay, this job is available, these are the requirements, this is how you should submit your application, your entire application, resume, cover letter, so on and so forth. As Curtis had said earlier, a lot of these companies will ask for specific information on the website. So the most that they will do in this day and age is give you a phone call, ask you a few more questions before deciding if you need to come in or not. All right. So pretty much, guys, those are just a few points, additional points into the presentation that Curtis made. In the last, we have about like 5 minutes left. So we also want to open up the 5 minutes to any questions, any additional comments before we close off the evening. So the floor is yours, guys. Any comments, any questions?
Hi, Curtis. This is Kimon. I just have a question. This is nothing to do with the presentation. I'm just curious. When did you leave FIT?
What's going on, Kimon? Really connected with you. So I left FIT at 2016, May 2016. So
Oh, okay.
4 years ago. Yep.
Just before I left, I came. So.
Oh, oh, so you're there right now?
Yeah, I'm currently a senior here at Carnegie.
Oh, that Kimon Nar, yeah, rings a bell.
Yeah, man, let's go. What are you studying?
Aeronautical science with flight.
With flight. All right, good stuff. Are you? So you're an instructor now, right?
No. COVID set me back on the 2 hurricanes, so I'm supposed to be doing my instrument check this week, and then just pushing until I'm finished. So. Yeah.
Okay. No worries. Keep your head up. But good stuff. It's good to see a fellow
Yeah.
Panther.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Thank you for the presentation also.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Reach out to me on IG for anything. When you're applying, we can, if you have a resume, you can shoot over to me. I can take a look at it. All right.
Sure. What's your Instagram?
I'll drop it in the chat.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Good to hear from you, Kimon. And I'm glad that you're doing well at FIT currently. Are you on campus now?
I currently don't live on campus, but I've been doing online for this semester, but still flying also. So we
Oh,
have the option
so
to
you're in
go in
Melbourne.
class. Yeah, I'm in Melbourne.
Okay.
So yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool.
flying.
Cool. Stacy Reader still up still at FIT?
Yeah, she's there still. She's there still.
All right. Well, next time you see her, just let her know. Curtis and I are
Yeah.
sends our greetings. I mean, I'm going to send her an email. Nevertheless, I'll give her a phone call. I mean, she'd absolutely love that. But if you get
All
to
right.
it before us, just greet her for us, please.
All right, will do.
Yeah, man. Any other questions or comments, guys?
Hi, afternoon.
Yeah, Jordan. Afternoon.
Yeah, this is related like to the resume part. Like that was, I just want to say to Curtis, that was a really good like presentation, and it helped me a lot. Like, and more specifically the pictures part. I'm going to take that into consideration. Right,
Yeah.
but some this is last year. You remember that the scholarship slash grant thing. I didn't see any recipients. I just want to know what's going on with that,
Well,
because it's my
that's
yeah
supposed to be mentioned around the 19th of
of this month.
October.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. There's a slight snag because of the whole pandemic thing.
okay,
But it's still in existence, and we should be giving the public make a public update
uh-huh.
on the 19th of October. Not far from now.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, man. No problem. No problem.
Yeah, man. And thanks also, Jordan. You're welcome as well for all of this. No problem. No problem.
Yeah. I see one last question from David. How difficult was it to get into FIT?
How difficult? Good question.
Well,
That's
if you knew that story, that story by Whitehall with the sardine and crackers looking at
and
FIT
crackers,
and
yeah.
laughing and saying that, wow, FIT doesn't look like, it looks like a good option, but with
Yeah.
with what is required. But eventually, long story short, he got in. Curtis can probably speak
Yeah.
to the process back then. I mean, it was pretty much the same like any other college. But go ahead, Curtis.
Yeah, man, it's just pretty straightforward. Like some say, we were there and just like wondering if it's gonna work out, but we just went with it. The online application is pretty, if I remember correctly. I mean, just apply online, fill out your details. I'm not sure if I had to submit a essay. I may have. I think I did.
I think
have to
so.
submit.
Yeah, I think it's still a
Yes.
requirement.
Yeah, that's the requirement. Submit the essay about whatever they ask from yourself, and they will need a transcript from high school, right? Or if you're in college, then you take from college. And once you have that minimum GPA that they wanted, or you're affiliated with the club, then you're going to at least be guaranteed a certain scholarship. So I wouldn't say it was, for me personally, it wasn't extremely difficult, but my grades were there to speak for me. So I guess that's why.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But once the grades are there, then you should be fine. And with the aviation club beside you, then you're good.
Yeah. Yeah. As Curtis said, the grades spoke on his behalf, and his affiliation with the club as well had helped him to get in. Because the club and FIT has a very good working relationship
Right.
over a good amount of years now, maybe even over 10 years, right? So
Yeah.
it's been a while. So yeah, once your grades are good, you're affiliated with the club, you send in your stuff to FIT and it's within their minimum requirements, then you should be good. And I say that to say there are persons who their grades matched up, they had good grades, applied to FIT and didn't get through, and they are club members, and they wrote in to say, hey, I got this letter from FIT to say that my, application has been declined and whatnot. And we saw that they met the minimum requirements, and we took it to our contact at FIT, which is at Lady Mrs. Stacy Reader. And by the following day, they got the acceptance letter. That's the type of relationship we have with FIT. So
networking, right? That's
networking.
power of the network.
The power of the network. So yeah, just do well in school. Let us know when you're ready to apply. It should be good to go. But for now, guys, that's it for today's session. We're a little bit over the time, but nevertheless, it was interactive. It was good. The information was delivered and apparently received. So for those who are here, thank you for being here. Thank you again to Curtis for, as always, giving back, sharing in time and resources and knowledge and all these things to help those come up. Shout out to Shane, O'Neill, Jordan, David, Ian, all those who are here. Kimon, who is here as well. Thank you all for being here, and thanks to Curtis.
No problem, no problem. Thank you all for coming on, and Sam, as always, just keep doing great work, bro.
Absolutely.
And I know that there's even greater things on the horizon for the club, for you. I know you're gonna get into your commercial flying soon.
Yeah.
All right, it's already
soon.
done. So I'm extremely thankful and to be here. God bless you.
All right, guys, take care. Stay safe. Don't let this pandemic get to you. Please stay safe. Kimon, stay safe. I know you're in the United States. Curtis, the same. You guys, all our guys home as well. Please stay safe. All right. This recording, the session is being recorded, so it will be posted on YouTube in about another hour. So if you